Hello guys, I am back from another video and today we're talking about what deku was Typhon. So, in the last video deku, we started off with Izuku's origins as Typhon, and after being defeated by Zeus, he was trapped in a tomb of ambrosia, a metal-like substance that was created by the god of metalworks and blacksmithing known as Vulcan slash Hephaestus. So, after he was trapped for millions of years, thanks to the greed of a certain mouse by the name of Principal Nezu, he decides to get the metal. And after breaking a bit of, as in a bit, I mean a lot of the ambrosia metal, Izuku was set off and set free. So, after Izuku summons out all of his children, which are now all undead, they start terrorizing Greece, and Izuku goes and flies to Mount Olympus. As Izuku sees all of the broken weapons of the gods, including Apollo, broken and about to die. He explains that apparently, after a few centuries of Izuku being trapped, the gods were basically wiped out by the giants. So, after Izuku leaves him for dead, Izuku sees a young boy, which Izuku shapeshifts to. So, after leaving him to die, Izuku tries to find somewhere that can actually accept him for all of his monstrous forms and his nature as the father of all monsters. So, that's basically what happened last time. So, this is going to be what happens next, and yeah. So, let's talk about what happens next. So, Izuku was flying near the clouds. Not really near the clouds, it's actually more like the clouds are above him. But not to the point that he's like easily seen by airplanes. So, Izuku was flying around as Izuku sees a little country. Izuku sees it and says this. This country. Guess I can live here. So, Izuku lands in a nearby... Wait for a second. I'm at a nearby dock, where several people started getting off ships, and people started, selling fish in the market, as Izuku, more like transforms, more like, taking away his dark-ass wings. So, Izuku changes his clothes after seeing, some modern clothing, as Izuku changes into them, as Izuku is going off and looks around. So, many of the people were mostly boys, and most of the girls are basically mean towards them. As one girl said this to Izuku, "Hey, you, start working." As Izuku says this, "But I'm not a part of this." As she says this, trying to talk to me again, as she starts creating lightning. As Izuku just sighs and says this, "I guess it's a brand new, life, so I think I should just start working, I guess." So, Izuku starts working with them, as after a while, it's basically like almost nighttime. As everybody was given money. That much. It's maybe about what is Izuku was given 930 yen, which Izuku thought it was weird seeing this thing that he was given. As one of them said this, "So you did a lot of work. Nice." As Izuku says this, sure. As the guy says this, "Can you give me some because I want to have a beer? Maybe you can have a beer with us." As Izuku says this, sure. So, Izuku was brought to a little pub as everybody started drinking. Izuku starts drinking as well, as Izuku, was pretty happy here. Izuku was a bit confused about the currency, as Izuku asks. As one of them said this, "Oh yeah, I forgot. What's your name? I'm actually new here." As Izuku says this, I'm also new here. As the guy says this, so what's your name? I actually wanted to ask. As Izuku starts looking around, trying to find a great idea for his name, as Izuku sees an eye, as Izuku just sees like a beer called Zuku. As Izuku says this, call me Izuku. As the guy says this, hmm, nice name. Nice to meet you, Izuku. As both of them shake hands, as they start, after they basically done drinking, they start going off and start going home. But Izuku just realizes that he doesn't have a home. So Izuku just sighs and thinks of an idea for where he's going to be living in this brand new city. So after trying to read like a little like flyer, because well, if you don't know, Izuku's now living in Japan. Izuku tries to read it, but he doesn't know what it actually means. So Izuku just wings it and tries to fly, just start flying somewhere else. So after flying around for a few hours, Izuku finds a little bank. Izuku thought that he can probably get his check or something and exchange it for money, which to exchange it for like you know what I mean. Izuku gotten a check from well his boss, a girl, and Izuku decides to try and change it because after hearing well some whispers, apparently they can change checks to money by going to the bank. So wait for a second. So after Izuku goes to the bank, Izuku sees most of the people there are girls. As Izuku starts getting harassed by them, saying, "Hey, how'd you try and be?" Or just mostly insulting things. Basically, just imagine that. As Izuku starts getting pissed off, but Izuku just ignores it. Izuku gets his money, but before he can leave, a robbery comes out. Like two robbers basically come into the bank as they say this. This is a stick up. Give us all of our like basically telling all of them to give them the money basically. Just like a stereotypical like stick up or something like that. As everybody started panicking, including the guys because well they don't have quirks. As one of the people grabs Izuku by the neck and says this. So, you're a little kid, eh? You're going to be a great example for these people. As she starts creating electricity. As Izuku was about to kill her, because Izuku's planning to do that by creating a tail that basically has like a dragon on the end. But Izuku decides not to. As Izuku just kicks her around the stomach and starts running away. But before he's about to run all the way to the door, Izuku almost got shot in the arm. As when Izuku almost got shot in the arm, Izuku literally almost screams. As Izuku said this, or Typhon, what is this place? How are they able to do this? As Izuku just looks around and sees several policemen. As they say this, oh, what is going on? Who is that little kid? As the robbers bring back Izuku, as most of them just get ready to kill Izuku for kicking her right in the stomach. As they say this is an example for daring to try and challenge us. As Izuku's about to get shot in the not in the stomach, I meant right. A hero arrives and basically bashed them into oblivion. And that hero was, wait for a second, was Aizawa. As Aizawa starts beating on them, which she is a girl in this universe, she says this, "Hey, kid, are you okay?" As Izuku says this, I'm fine. As Izuku's hood that he gotten from, well, that little area there, the basically that dock, Izuku's, well, hoodie covering his face, starts showing his horns. But thankfully, nobody noticed it, except the like, except for Aizawa. As Izuku starts running away, most of the policemen start saying, "Wait, we're trying." As most of them just stop because, well, they're probably thinking that Izuku's pretty much afraid or just terrified after that whole experience. But when Aizawa saw Izuku's horns, she was interested because most boys don't have quirks. But after seeing Izuku's horns, or should I say, horn, she was interested. So Izuku goes into a back alley as Izuku starts hyperventilating. As Izuku says this, "What? This place is crazy. Even back then." Izuku starts hyperventilating. Hyperventilating as Izuku says this. This place is still the same, but crazier. As Izuku calms down and says this, "Right, I should just calm down." And just as Izuku hears something in the dumpster. As Izuku looks and smells the garbage, as Izuku says this, "What the God, it smells bad." As Izuku looks over and looks on top, not on top, I meant looks wait for a second. I meant looks inside of the Izuku sees a girl. This girl has brown hair and brown eyes. Sorry about that. The like I'm really sorry about the background noise, specifically from my neighbors, because every single night they would always I would always hear banging noises from them, like crashes of metal and other such things. And I almost thought that they were using a gun to shoot something, but it's probably not like a gun. But I'm still terrified what is happening over there. Anyway, back to the story. After Izuku looks and sees a girl there, Izuku says this. "One the." As the girl says this, "Hey, hello. My name is Ochako. What's yours?" As Izuku says this, hello, miss. Just call me Izuku." As she says this, cool. Hello there. What are you doing here? Are you, an orphan as well?" As Izuku says this, "Wait, an orphan?" As she says this, "Yeah, I was abandoned as a child because, well, my quirk was pretty useless. How about you?" As Izuku says this, as Izuku thought in his mind, as Izuku thought of this, my parents abandoned me because I was a boy. Yeah. Izuku just sighs a little bit as the girl says this. "Oh, okay." As Ochako also says this. "So, I'm an orphan because my quirk was not really that good." As Izuku says this. "What do you mean your quirk was not really that good?" As she says this. "Well, my quirk is, well, it's basically levitating objects. But the only way for me to use it is by touching the object." As Izuku says this. "So, a anti-gravity type quirk, right?" As she says this. Correct. Um, and, uh, I've been living off the streets for a long time now. How about you?" As Izuku says this. I'm new here or whatever. As she says this. Cool. Um, by the way, Mr. Izuku? As Izuku says this. "Just call me Izuku." As she says this. "Cool. I wanted to ask, are you, like, alone or something?" As Izuku says this. "I mean, yeah, I am a loner, but not that alone." As she says this. "Oh, cool, maybe we should work together. I mean, we're both orphans." As Izuku says this. "Work with you?" Izuku looks up and down her body as Izuku sees one of her arms. Her arm was covered up by cloth. As Izuku says this. "What happened to your arm?" As she says this. "Oh, yeah. um, when I was abandoned, some girls basically bullied me and caused my arm to start bleeding. So I had to cover it up. Izuku says this. Really? Hmm. As Izuku says this. Well then, guess we should be going then. Miss Ochako, right? As Ochako says this. Oh, yeah, I mean, I'm actually really, done scavenging for food now. As Izuku says this. Scavenging for food? As she says this. Yeah. After scavenging some food, I actually found these. As Izuku sees that they're something. They look like bags, but they're basically inflated. As Izuku says this. What are those? As Ochako says this. Oh, they're expired chips. As Izuku says this. Chips? As she says this. Do you even know chips? Like, seriously, are you that under that rock? As Izuku says this. Under that rock? What? As she says this. Anyway, maybe we should start eating. So, as Ochako starts eating expired chips, Izuku tries them. As Izuku picks like a generic cheese flavored chip. As when Izuku eats it, Izuku thought it was pretty good. And after a while of eating them, Izuku was pretty full, including Ochako. As Ochako says this. Hey, Izuku, why are you wearing that hood in the first place? Are you like hiding something? As Izuku says this. Oh, yeah. It's nothing. As she uncovers the hood and sees Izuku's horn. As she says this. What the? Do you have a quirk? That's incredible. As Izuku says this. Yeah, I have a quirk. Yeah. Izuku just pretends to be like that as Typhon says to himself, or Izuku says this in his mind. This world is weird. As so you're a boy with a quirk. That's awesome. Like a boy with a quirk, basically like a 1 in a million chance. It's like most boys are just mostly just quirkless, but you you have a quirk. Anyway, what type of quirk do you have? As Izuku says this, Izuku starts thinking in his mind. As Izuku comes up with this, I have a shape-shifting quirk. Yeah, I have a shape-shifting quirk. As she says this, shape-shifting. As Izuku says this, yeah. Izuku starts transforming his arm into basically like a wolf. It's like a wolf's head. As she says this, cool. So you're able to shapeshift into whatever you want? As Izuku says this, yeah. But I can also transform parts of my body into, creatures and also use, well, um, elemental powers, I guess. As she says this, elemental powers. As Izuku says this, yeah. Izuku starts breathing out fire as Izuku's, arm that's turned into like a wolf's head starts shooting out the electricity. As Ochako says this, whoa, that's so cool. Like, seriously, you would you would instantly become a hero or something. As Izuku says this, a hero. As she says this, yeah, maybe we should become heroes. I mean, we're both poor and nobody would ever believe you for being the first boy with a quirk, but it's a try. As Izuku thought of this, as Izuku says this, yeah, fine then, girl, or Ochako, let's just go, because it seems that we're in big trouble. As he says this, in big trouble, what do you mean? As they hear the sounds of those, like the robbers that Izuku was threatened by, like the robbers that were threatening him. So, Izuku starts running away. I meant. Izuku starts running away with Ochako as they arrive at a dead end. As the robbers say this, "So, it seems that you're all alone, kid." As the other robber says this, "Wait a minute, is that another girl?" As she says this, "Oh, a little girl with you. Is he, is she like your girlfriend or whatever?" We should start with her. As some of the heroes arrived, as they're getting ready to save them, but they were instantly defeated by the villains because, for plot reasons. Aizawa was about to fight, well, the villains, or the robbers, but she was starting to get overwhelmed by their power, even with her quirk being the cancel quirk, or the erasing quirk. So, Ochako tries to fight back, but was, she was instantly defeated by them because, she's still injured. So, Izuku was left alone, getting ready to be pummeled to the ground by these robbers. As they say this, "Hello, little boy," as they get ready to use their quirks. As Aizawa basically wakes up, as she starts wrapping them up in the, scarf. But one of them gets the shot in, specifically on Izuku. As Izuku's hood starts getting revealed, or should I say, taken off by the blast, Aizawa sees Izuku's horn. As Izuku says this, "Did you seriously just did that?" As the girls say this, "Wait, what is that? Are you... What is that horn? Are you..." As Izuku says this, "You just hurt me just because I was a boy. You stupid little hostage." Izuku's arms started growing and growing, creating claws made from this weird material like metal. As Izuku says this, "Now you're gonna pay for that." Izuku gets ready to slice them all into pieces, but Izuku gets knocked out by Aizawa, including, from earlier, Miss Ochako. So, Ochako is basically knocked out with Izuku, as the villains, or the robbers, were brought to the police. So, after Aizawa saw that, the first boy with a quirk, quote unquote, Izuku was brought to the... wait for a second, to Aizawa's house. So, after being brought there, Aizawa says this, "So, this kid has has a quirk. Interesting." As she starts drinking some more coffee, as she says this, "Can't believe the first boy was actually the first boy I can't believe the first boy with the quirk is actually that lazy or that idiotic to try and fight them on his first try." Unfortunately, I have to do whatever I can to save these stupid. She starts, getting a little bit mad, but decides to just calm down. As she says this, "So, this is the first boy that's able to use a quirk. Interesting." As she gets closer to towards Izuku's face, as she starts touching the horn that Izuku has on his head, which is still a reminder that he's still Typhon. So, after a bit of having fun with his horn, she says this, "Anyway, I should start sleeping. Alright, good night, both of you, or whatever." So, after she turns off the lights and leaves both Izuku and Miss Ochako alone, she starts moving back to her bed. As Aizawa says this, "What a drag. as she falls to sleep. So, before we leave, I want to, well, say what was the winner, basically. So, it seems that there's two votes for each of the two different, well, things. Two for heroes and two for villains. So, unfortunately, there was no common, well, distinction, or should I say answer. So, let's decide on the, well, which Izuku's going to become, hero or villain. So, yeah. So, just pick in the comments which Izuku's going to be. Either hero or villain. You decide. Okay? Just decide in the comments and then we're good. Okay? Good. So, I hope you liked the video. Comment and subscribe and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye.